So we're in this series here at Bayside called Skeptical, and one of the questions that we're unpacking together is the Bible. How do we read the Bible? How should we study the Bible? How should we approach this ancient book, and what relevance does it have for our life today? Well, I think one of the most important approaches to the Bible is that before we open its words, we first need to open our hearts and invite the Spirit of God to speak to us. I think it's important that we start from a place of prayer for wisdom and discernment, and that God would give us a humble and teachable heart. In the book of James, chapter 4, verse 6, it says, God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. This is an important point because so many times when people read the Bible, throughout history, actually, we project on the Bible our perspective, or we approach the Bible with our own agenda in mind. I mean, you think about all the ways that the Bible has been used to justify terrible things. You can go back to the Civil War, and people used the Bible to advocate for slavery. Nations have used Bibles to justify unjust wars. People in communes have used the Bible to justify polygamy. I mean, the list goes on. So many examples of this. And this is what I like to call the ink blot way of reading the Bible. Remember that from Psychology 101, where you have this mess of ink on a page, and then what you see is supposedly a reflection of who you are at the deepest level. I think if we're not careful, we can approach the Bible as if it were some kind of cosmic ink blot, where we project our thoughts, feelings, insecurities on the text. We make it say what we want it to say, instead of asking, God, what are you trying to say to me through it? And this is why prayer is so important, because prayer immediately will synchronize your heart with the heart of God. It gives you that space to be real and honest with God. God, I'm hurting, I'm lonely, I'm insecure or struggling, I'm tired, it's been a long day. And as you pray before you enter into the text, it gives you that space for you to be authentic, and also, I think, for God to move, to speak, to heal, and to set us free. So one approach to the Bible that I think can be unhealthy is that kind of cosmic ink blot way, or we could say a postmodern approach to the Bible. Another approach to the Bible that I think is also unhealthy is more of a modern approach. And by modern, I mean this. When you look at the birth of modernism, what you have is, during that time in the world, everything was undergoing a seismic redefinition. You know, Copernicus redefined our sense of place. The Reformation redefined our sources of authority. Darwin redefined our beginnings. Nietzsche redefined our destiny. So much so that by the 19th century, everything we thought we knew about the world had changed. Everything's flipped upside down. But here's the interesting bit. Even though everything's kind of chaotic, we still long for that sense of order and control. Now, track with me here. If we want order and control, where do we go? Well, one option is we submit to the authority and control of God. We submit to His Word. The other dangerous approach is we impose our sense of control on others, and that is actually what you see happening with the birth of modernism. We wanted to control the environment, so we become industrial. We want to control populations, so we develop cities. We want to control nations, so we develop nuclear bombs. But it's the same theme, right? Power, order, and control. And I think often we'll approach the Bible the same way, as if it were a specimen in a lab to be cut up and dissected and organized. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, we got to realize, like, the Bible doesn't always fit into our boxes. It can be incredibly awkward and messy and volatile at times. Just when you think you've got it figured out, it'll do something unpredictable. Why? Because the Bible isn't a formula, it's a story. And like any story, it will ebb and flow. There's highs and lows, there's drama and chaos. And to read the Bible is to enter into that story. The Bible wasn't written so that we could master it. It was written so that it could master us. And that begins by approaching Scripture with a posture of prayer.